Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It is Skype Goldbridge. We will be taking your calls. First time in a long time we've done that. But Jose Mourinho's job is still on the line. It's still not safe. Maybe that's something that you would like to talk about tonight. We'll also be talking about the players that have been great this season so far or have let us down this season so far. We'll talk about Eric Bailly and the rumours that he may be leaving. Are you happy or sad about that? We've heard mixed things over the last few weeks about that. And also, would Mourinho realistically be sacked if we lost to Man City and Juventus over the next week? 9 points behind Manchester City. They've got 28 better goal difference than us. So, there's good, there's bad, there's not. But where's this coming from about Mourinho's job not being safe? Well, interestingly, it's come from Duncan Castles, who is a journalist who is actually very, very, rumoured to be very, very close to Mourinho. Certainly very, very pro-Mourinho. For him to be saying that Mourinho's job is still not safe, it's still on the line, it's still only one or two bad results away from the board maybe looking to move him on again. Real Madrid are waiting in the wings for him or Pochettino, although Mourinho himself has said apparently over the last week that he wouldn't like to go back to Madrid because of the problems that were there in the first place. It is interesting, should Jose Mourinho still be, his Manchester United job be hanging by a thread, which for somebody who is, I'm still actually do believe that Mourinho and United aren't right for each other. I don't think his job should be on the line at the moment. If it was down to me, obviously I would have a different choice about that, but I think that the board, in relation to the expectations that they set and the way that Manchester United have performed over the last month, 10 points from 12, and obviously we're going into a very, very big week, but, by what sort of level is it that his job is unsafe? What sort of result would it be? Kadir Hussain says, I can't believe what I've been seeing lately. Man City fans and pundits on Sky Sports calling Pep the greatest manager of all time, better than Sir Alex Ferguson. Oh, I'm happy to... Well, thanks for the contribution, Kadir. I'm more than happy to just discuss that straight away, I suppose. Pep, the greatest manager of all time, compared to Jose Mourinho, probably. Compared to Sir Alex Ferguson, get your coat, get out, you're walking home, and I hope you freeze on the way back, because it's absolutely nonsense. Sir Alex Ferguson's the greatest sports manager of all time. Forget just football, what Sir Alex Ferguson has done with his career. And let's not forget, not just with Manchester United, taking a club that hadn't won the league in decades and making them dominate football. How many titles were we behind for Liverpool when he took over? Double figures. And, he did all that. But what Sir Alex Ferguson doesn't get mentioned a lot, apart from those people in the know, is that he, with Aberdeen, he broke the Celtic Rangers monopoly as well. So he's just a fantastic manager. Only somebody who's dropped out their mum's chuff after 2005 would say that Pep is better than Sir Alex Ferguson. It is absolutely cretinously naive to say it. So, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Ridiculous. Sorry, I've still got the cough. Still not feeling great. KSI says, wow, you were criticising Jose, now you're praising him. Wow. No, I'm not, KSI. Open your ears. Get one of them cotton buds. Actually, don't do that. It's not good for cleaning your ears. But you know what? Just listen to what I'm saying. What did I say in the opening few minutes? Should this board be looking to sack Mourinho at this moment in time after one bad result? I don't think they should, because I think they've made the bed and they should lie in it. If I was in charge of this club, would I sack him? Yes. I wouldn't have waited till now, though. So I want Mourinho to go. I do. But at the moment, everything's going well. And I'm willing to be patient about it. I'm not certainly going to be chanting Mourinho out on every single show, because the results have been quite good at the moment. I think you've got to be... Respectful's not the right word, because I'm not going to stay quiet about it. I still don't think he should be manager of Manchester United going forward. But at the moment, if a miracle can happen, if he can turn this situation round, then I would be back. I would happily back him. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're just going to see a couple of bad results, then a couple of good results. And, against the teams like we have beaten, the Evertons, the Newcastles and the Bournemouths, I think we've got the quality to beat them. Against the better teams, maybe we don't, but we'll wait and see. Love the show, Mark. Keep up the great work, says Revan. And it means that Sir Alex Ferguson is the best manager and Jose has to be Gabriel. Pep, better than Sir Alex, no chance, says Ruth Myers. Sacking could ruin the good momentum we have. Paul Robinson says, this inconsistency will never change with Jose. This will be our existence until he leaves. I can't take it. Paul, it's Skype Goldbridge tonight, so if you want to Skype in, pal, we've not heard from a lot of people in a long time. I'd really like to get your current thoughts on the situation, so do Skype in and do that. We will be taking calls. Skype Goldbridge, all one word. Love from India Marks is with football. I also want to talk about Eric Bailly. There's talk of him going to AC Milan. Somebody messaged me today and said, what do I think is going to happen with Eric Bailly? I think the writing's on the wall with Eric Bailly. He's been here. This is year 3 for Eric Bailly. We signed Eric Bailly the summer that Jose Mourinho came here. This is not a player that You could say with Lindelof, where it was a first-year adaptation. Mkhitaryan, where it took a bit of time to adapt. I think Eric Bailly was our first-choice centre-back, and over the last 18 months has got further and further away. He's not even on the bench now. Phil Jones is getting on the bench ahead of Eric Bailly. So it's not about Eric Bailly learning to play under Mourinho. He's already doing that. Mourinho's sort of given up on Bailly. Is that the right thing to do? An Arsenal fan asked me today, what would you think if Bailly went to us? And I said, to be honest with you, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be very happy with that signing. I think he's a very, very good centre-back. I just don't get why Mourinho doesn't want to use him. Gabriel Medina says he's our best centre-back. I don't know what it's all about. And also I want to talk about Matic. I mean, I don't want to be political on the United stand at all, but Matic has come out and said, well, obviously, first of all, the political thing, Matic didn't wear has always wore a poppy on his shirt, like many Manchester United players. This game against Bournemouth, he was the only one player not to. He's done an interview and said that NATO attacked his village when he was about 12 or 11 or a child, and that's the reason he doesn't wear it, which is a personal choice for his. As I said this afternoon, my thoughts on it are, I don't agree with him not wearing a poppy, but I respect why he's not doing it because it's his choice to make. But I don't have to agree with it. I think in this PC world, and as I said before when I was doing my FIFA stream, people are offended by everything at the moment, aren't they? But, at the end of the day, I've got an opinion, and my opinions, I don't agree with him not having the poppy on his shirt. That's my opinion. I wouldn't ever force it on him that he's got to do it because he's got every right to make his own choice. And you know what? The reason I believe in the poppy, it's got nothing to do with what NATO did. It's got nothing to do with, what happened in Northern Ireland or anything like that. It's everything to do with World War I and World War II, where loads of people died, sacrificing their lives so that we can have the lives that we lead now, so that we do have freedom of expression. That's why I think the poppy is really important. I don't ever wear a poppy when I'm doing the United stand because I don't really like to make political statements, and it's not a political statement. It is something that I'm going to throw to you. I mean, if you want me to wear my poppy on the show for the next week, I'll do it, but I don't want to offend people who don't want to wear it. And maybe people would say, well, yeah, but then you're just bowing down to these people who are offended by everything. But it is a personal choice, and I think the great thing about the poppy is even if you don't wear it, even if you are a Matic or even a James McLean who's got a good, he gets a lot of stick for it as well. Well, it's great that they've got that freedom to make that choice, because if Hitler had his way, Matic is from Europe, McLean lives in Ireland, so this would have all been Nazi Europe, and you might not have had that freedom of choice. So you do get that. So that's my theory on it. That's why I don't disagree. I disagree with these people, but they've all got their own personal choices, and certainly when I was 11 years old, my little rural village, the thing we used to have worry about was cows keeping us away at night. We certainly weren't being bombed by NATO. So I think there are a couple of sides to it. But Matic also spoke about, surprise, surprise, backing Mourinho and saying that we're united when we win or lose. There is no problem in the dressing room. I mean, for me, I think a bit of humour always helps. We wouldn't be having the argument about Matic and his poppy on his shirt if Matic was dropped like I think he should be, because I think he's shit at the moment. I really do. Don't think he's playing very well at all. So that would solve the problem, wouldn't it? But Angela, I've missed a contribution there. But Angela Morero says, Jose said in his last press conference that he's trying to get the team to play attacking football. Do you think that he is trying? Love your streams. Well, thanks for the contribution, Angela. I want to take some Skype calls. So just do Skype in. It's Skype Goldbridge, all one word. We're going to start taking your calls in a minute. But in relation to that contribution, I just want to say this. What Jose Mourinho did say, and expanding on it, is that defensively, if you play really defensively, it can mask the weakness of your team. And I think what he's sort of hinting at is that this season maybe they haven't been so defensive, and that has exposed the weaknesses in their team, whereas last season maybe he played very, very defensively. I don't disagree with him, what he's saying there, but I also think that it's year 3. That's the only thing I always come back to, is the minute I start being sympathetic to Jose, it's the minute this voice on this shoulder says, it's year 3. And I can't move away from that, to be honest. Sir Alex Ferguson players were still getting it done 3 managers later. Sir Alex Ferguson's players still getting it done 3 managers later. Best manager ever. Yeah, I mean, that's from Andrew Rossi. And I think he's probably right with that. We still do have a lot of Sir Alex Ferguson's signings as fundamentals of this team. And Van Gaal was the same, and David Moyes was the same. If you look at Valencia, you look at Ashley Young, you look at Chris Smalling, you look at David De Gea, these are all Sir Alex Ferguson signings, and they are still massively part of what Manchester United's all about. Why that is, I do not know. But also, I want to, there's so much for us to talk about. get calling in, Skype Goldbridge, all one word, or if you don't call in, I'll just take live comments as usual. I don't mind either or as far as I'm concerned. We've had a few contributions coming in as well, which is nice to see. Kid Cully, thank you. You can do that through the $ at the bottom. He says, we're stuck at the moment, can't park the bus because we can't defend and we can't attack until we go behind. No philosophy and no direction. I got a little bit of stick today. I think it's because it's Monday morning and I think people can be a little bit moody on a Monday morning. And basically they were saying that I tweeted out that United's main issue is pretty much what was said there, is that we spend all week, like Jose Mourinho said, working on how to stop Bournemouth, when we know for a fact that Pep and Klopp, they don't spend all week looking at the opposition. They just think we work on how we play, and that will be good enough, and that's what's going to work. And a lot of people were like, oh, stop being so negative, stop picking on Jose, this, that and the other. And I was like, look, these are Jose Mourinho's words. I'm saying this is why we will never win a title, because we never want to progress into being a team in our own right. We change the team, we change the tactics every week, because Mourinho thinks at this moment in time the best way to be successful with United is to try and stop the opposition. So I think that's what it's all about, to be honest with you. Not getting many Skype calls coming in. Skype Goldbridge, all one word. I know we haven't done it in a while, but normally we get quite a few. So I do want to take some of your calls. And remember, please do drop a like on the video because it is all about yourselves tonight. I'd love to get somebody to call in and say who's been good and who's been bad this month as well. Also, if you want to speak about the Matic thing, that's fine. If you want to talk about Mourinho still fighting for his job and whether it's fair or not, that would be great. We are almost at 300,000 subscribers as well, so make sure that you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And yeah, well, hopefully we've got a call. Let's see if we can get one. Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm all right. Is that Alec?
Yeah, I called a few months ago.
Okay, all right, mate.
The show was great.
What was it you want to talk about then?
Well, for one, I think he has way too much trouble. Like you said, picking a solid starting 11. Bailly, for one, Eric Bailly, he's our best defender. He reminds me of Vidic. He puts his all on the field. My problem is I think he wants a center back who, like Lindelof, who can play the ball out from the back. Searches for somebody on the wings. He tries to, get the ball going up the wings as the midfielders, they sit back, and it's like he's all over the field. He can't figure out what he wants to do. And like you said, in a solid starting 11 with 3 years in, and I just don't see him coming back from this. He struggles way too much with certain players individually. He has his own personal issues. Some players are, they made their way back into it, like Marshall, like Luke Shaw, like Marshall's. He's phenomenal. The way I think Alexis should be starting up front. You got to drop Lukaku, you got to drop Matic. You need players who are mobile, who are fast. And the thing is, he's a very stubborn, arrogant man. He hates admitting defeat, Mourinho. So I don't think his way of changing the game, and then the way he makes excuses. He foreshadows a lot of the issues, like Lukaku was tired, or he had a small knock, or this and that. He's always it's like he's trying to give the fans what they want without actually giving it blatantly. He always has to find a reason to not blame himself.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wanted to talk about Eric Bailly anyway tonight, and so I'll ask you what your thoughts are on him. I mean, I've always said about Chris Smalling. Chris Smalling's playing for United a lot at the moment. I like Smalling. I've always stuck up for Smalling. Funny enough, Manchester Derby's coming up. I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago he got sent off in that, and some United fans were calling him a CUNT, absolutely vile stuff. And I was just like, I like Smalling. Can you win a title with Smalling? I don't think you can. But as a backup centre-back, I think Smalling's great. But I don't think he should be first choice. And I think at the weekend he was very poor. But Eric Bailly's not even on the bench.
Yeah, he's definitely... Smalling's a rotatable squad player type of defender. I don't think he can start. And honestly, I think between 3 and 5 games over the last 2 seasons I watched, he gives goals away. And it's funny enough because halfway through the game you hate him and you slate him for it, and then he makes up for it. You know what I mean? He scores game winners or tie game goals, and he makes up for it. It's like he clings the fans on. But Phil Jones, man, I never want to see him on the field again. That's somebody I'd like to keep away forever. But Lindelof and Bailly starting would be I think would be the best pair we could have. And you got to start giving Dalot runs at the starting in the starting 11, because Valencia, I don't know what his issue is with Mourinho, but I've heard you mention too, Ashley Young and Valencia are going to be almost mid, they're starting to turn over in their 30s. They're not gonna be prime, and that's what he likes doing. Mourinho, he likes getting the best out of an aging fullback, and they're not even they're wingers. They were originally wingers. You know what I mean? So he needs to start giving the players he bought real chances, real solid runs. And one thing I wanted to mention was I live out like on the East Coast in the States, and Liverpool, they own the Red Sox. The Red Sox just won the World Series over here, and they own Liverpool. And the thing that they did is, I heard you mention before, when they got Klopp in that middle of that season, and they finished like 10th or 8th or whatever it was, they struggled for that half a season, but you see the progress it takes over time. Now, would you rather have a coach who, like, I'd like Jardim or Eddie Howe, somebody give somebody you wouldn't expect a chance, instead of all these big names who, like Louis van Gaal and Mourinho, are trying but they're not succeeding. I'd like to see somebody who's not familiar with, have a good take a good risk, like give people a chance. And that's the problem. The board wants immediate wins, and Liverpool, it just took them time, but they got what they wanted over the course of time. They built, and I hate them. I'm a diehard United fan. I love them, 10 years plus, been watching them, but they just, the way they went about it, they invested years ahead of time. They suffered a little bit, but it paid off. Do we want to invest and wait longer with Mourinho, or do you want to, it's like resetting the clock and giving an attacking-minded, youthful, developing coach the chance? I think it'd be perfect. We got to try somebody new. We got to try something new.
Yeah. Well, yeah, interesting. Thanks for calling in, Alec. Thanks for being the first Skyper for a while, and please do call in again.
Yeah, thanks for taking it, Mark. Love the show.
Cheers, pal. Speak to you soon.
Have a good one.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of United fans who do feel like that at the moment, that maybe we should be taking a risk on somebody. But I think Alec's absolutely spot on. I think the problem is our board just would never do something like that. Shane, can you hear me?
How you doing, Mark? You alright?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to hear from you. What is it you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Martial and just how the team is playing at the first half at the moment.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
There's like a lot of people that want like credit to Jose for putting Martial on the team and blah blah blah. Absolute nonsense. There's no difference between Martial. He's not tracking back. Martial will never be Ryan Giggs and David Beckham. We need to get that out of our mind in terms of tracking back and helping back Gary Neville, helping back Irwin or Sylvester, Patrick Ever, Ryan Giggs, whoever his fullback was at the time. Martial is not that. What Sir Alex did with Ronaldo is he will play Rooney on the wing, Park Ji-sung on the wing, and then leave Ronaldo as the number 9 for counter-attacks. End of the day, Mark, if you have 2 chances in a match, who do you want those 2 chances to fall to out of our squad? I think most people would say Martial.
Best finisher in the team, isn't he? Yeah.
He's by far the best. Well, he scored what 5 goals, I think, on 6 shots. Yeah. That's abnormal efficiency. He's super efficient. So I don't want to hear this, he should be dropped. We should justify him being dropped for 8 months because he wasn't tracking back. He's not that type of player. Mbappe is not that type of player. Ronaldinho wasn't that sort of player. Perez wasn't that sort of player. Those players, if you're going to have them in a team, you put people around them to, like when we played Paul Scholes in big matches, we'll put Nicky Butt in the midfield because Paul Scholes is not good at tracking back. You always find ways to put your best players in the team. I hate that they want to give Jose credit for tracking back and all that. It's just rubbish. It's rubbish. Martial will never be that type of player.
It's interesting as well, just because just to cover on that, because a lot of people will be thinking, well, what you are spot on, because Mourinho. I think what you're basically saying is that Martial is no different to the player he's always been. It's not like Mourinho's trying to say, well, yeah, now he's working harder, he's tracking back. He's always been the player that he is. He's just needed games.
Exactly, Mark. You just need. At the end of the day, Mark, you know this because I'm in my late 20s, and you're a growing man yourself. You know this. Life is either you're an asset or you're not. How do you become an asset in life? Whether your job, you look at the production. When Martial got dropped, what did his production say? Yeah, he had 11 goals, but he had 9 assists. 11 goals and 9 assists by January, and that was my issue. 9 assists. Like, it's not like he just doesn't create. Like, he's not just a normal talent. It's not a normal talent, Mark. So you try your best to put that talent in your team. It's just common sense. Like right now, Mark, there's a lot of people making excuses for the way we play defensive football because Jose don't trust our defenders. But at the end of the day, Mark, we have talented centre-backs. our problem is we have no commander in the air. Our best header of the ball is Chris Smalling, which is where he's playing, and Chris Smalling has 2 left feet. He's an idiot. He's always going to do something stupid. So we have no one that's good in the air. So common sense will tell me why concede possession and defend? If you're defending most of the match, Mark, common sense will tell me you're going to concede more corners, more set pieces, and more crosses into your box if you don't have the ball. We can't do none of those things. We can't defend crosses, we can't defend corners, and we can't defend set pieces from dead ball situation. So why are we not pressing high and letting the opponent have to run in behind? I'd rather Bailey and Lindelof chasing someone in the corner because they're pressing so high than actually sitting back and trying to win balls in the box. That point makes no sense to me, Mark. I want to know your opinion on that. Like, why would we sit back and concede possession when we can't defend? We can't defend. It doesn't make sense to me. I'd rather 3-2 than lose 1-0 like Juventus. Juventus was a 1-0 battering. It hurt. It burnt. I'm not used to watching Man United at Old Trafford. Like, Martial was playing left wing back. I don't want to see Martial there. Why not just go for it?
It's going to be interesting this week, certainly in relation to that. But I don't know whether you saw Match of the Day 2 last night. I don't normally watch it, and I just flipped on at the perfect time. They had Ruud Gullit on, and I like Ruud Gullit, not only as a player, but I think he speaks a lot of sense. And he was talking about Pogba first, and he said that the reason Pogba doesn't play well for United is because he's surrounded by players that are crap on the ball, take too many touches, and are too tall. Pogba plays best with people like Kante, Griezmann, because they're quick, they move the ball quick, and that's what Pogba wants. He wants to pass and go. Lukaku ahead of him, Matic behind him, too slow, too static. And then he sort of spoke about that in relation to United as well. It's like Mourinho does have an obsession with height. And it's funny because as a fan channel and as a community, you've all been on about it for about 2 years. We've been joking about it last season about if you're over 6'2", you get in the team. And I think this is a problem with United. We moan about the slow movement of the ball and the lack of pressing, like you say. But we shouldn't be surprised, because I know for a fact we've all been on about for a long time this whole Jose doesn't pick team players unless they're over 6'2". We were surprised we bought Fred, and then he doesn't really pick him anyway. So look, it's the style of football as far as I'm concerned.
I so agree, Mark. And what's even more surprising is that for the first time in how many years, Mark, did we have a bad midfield? For years, we had an old bad midfield, in my opinion. And Mark, we have Herrera, Fred, Pogba, Pereira. To me, we could have a top midfield if you play the right team and the right tactics. And Jose, he needs to look in the mirror, man. I'm tired of excuses. I don't want to hear no excuse about no defenders, no right backs. All these things are true. But how about you just drop Matic and see how we play without Matic? So many stuff can get solved in simple situations. Not everything needs transfer market. Like, I'm tired of the excuses, man. It's your third year. Me and Mark wanted you. No one else really wanted you like that, Jose. And I feel like you're going out war with your own players. And you're just not going out like a lion. I thought Jose was going to come us against the world. Man United is hated, Jose is hated. I thought it was the perfect match. And he's just disappointed me, Mark, man. He's let me down. And it's let you down. Because, Mark, for 2 years, you were backing this guy. Like, everyone's all of a sudden act like you just changed your opinion. You gave this guy over 24 months. And while he was dropping our favourite players, Mark, we were still been giving this guy a chance. This guy has a problem with every player that we like the most. Bailey, Pogba, Martial, he has a problem with. Does he have a problem with all the talented players and then likes all the shit ones? He loves Jesse, he loves McTominay, he loves Fellaini. Like, everyone that's I think is shit, Mark, he likes. If I think you're shit,
it's true.
Mourinho seems to like you. If you're shit, in my opinion. Like, what is this obsession with shit players?
You're making me laugh, but you're absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself. That last minute, I think you, me, and a lot of people have been very loyal to Mourinho, and you do get to that point where, all right, Martial's playing now. Martial's playing because Lingard and Sanchez were injured. Lukaku will come back in, and a lot of people were saying today, if he could just move Matic out, then they'd give him a chance. I need to get another caller on, Shane, but I really enjoyed it. Please do call in again, and thanks for calling in, pal.
I'm top man, mate. Top man.
Cheers, mate. Fantastic caller there. We've got a few more to take as well, but very, very, very interesting points, especially at the end, because it does feel like that. We had it with Van Hal in a way, because he never used to pick Herrera, and I just love a new manager to come in and play the midfield, sort the midfield out, because they, Zidane would play Herrera or Pereira. They wouldn't be bloody playing Matic. He's awful. Paul, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mark, you're right.
Yeah, not too bad. Long time no hear. I'm going to ask you a question first of all, because I often quote things that you've said over the last 18 months. I mean, how are you feeling about United at the moment? I pretty much know that you're still Jose out, but 10 points from the last 4 games. Is there any chance that this is going to turn it around this season, do you think?
I mean, Jose can always get points. He can. It doesn't matter what you say. With the way he plays, he can always get points. So top 4 there's no other question. It really isn't, because it's Jose Mourinho. Why would you say he couldn't get top 4? Look what he's done in 20 years of management. But it's not guaranteed, and it's the inconsistency that's going to ruin us. I mean, every game to game, it doesn't matter who we play. We don't know whether we're going to lose 4-0, win 4-0, draw 1-1. We'll play Burnley, and we're worried. I mean, what's that all about?
It is a bit like that at the moment, isn't it? Because, even at the weekend, Mourinho said it himself, that game could have been gone by half-time. And at some point, somebody's going to catch us, aren't they? They're going to absolutely catch us. They're going to be on their game. They're not going to be wasteful in front of goal. I don't think it will be Man City, because I think a derby's a great leveller. But at some point, somebody's going to absolutely annihilate us, I think. Yeah,
but, I mean, is Jose Mourinho the new Arsene Wenger? Look at the similarities in terms of what Arsenal Fan TV were going on about in terms of 2 wins, a draw, a loss.
Yeah.
Go nuts. 2 wins, all right, give them a chance, a draw, woof, and then a loss, go nuts. We're on a similar cycle to that at the moment in terms of, people who want in limbo about Jose out. You've got the people who are going to want Jose in all the time because he's a Manchester United manager, and fair play. I mean, you need to look at the bigger picture, in my opinion. But my question to you is this. If Jose Mourinho leaves tomorrow, if you disregard his historical data in terms of what he's won, what exactly is he doing now that another manager can't do? And what exactly will we miss about this present Jose Mourinho so badly that if he leaves, we will not be able to get anybody else to do it?
I'll be totally honest, and I don't know how you feel about this and everybody at home. If Jose Mourinho was sacked tomorrow, because I am an empathetic person, I would feel sorry for him. If he'd been sacked 2 or 3 weeks ago before these good results, I would have applauded him out of the club because I was so annoyed with him. I've never disliked Jose Mourinho. In fact, as the previous caller said, I backed him for a long, long time, and I was happy when we got him because I thought he'd deliver a title. But if I'm being totally blunt and taking emotion out of it, you're right. For me, it feels like he's walking on ice. And at some point, he might make it across the river, and there's the Premier League title. But I can't see it, because I think at some point that ice is already cracking and he's going to go under. There's similarities between Chelsea and what happened there, dressing room issues. He's even bringing out the same quotes now. By the Christmas, we'll be in the top 4. Well, we know what happened with him with that. I just don't... It's the start... I'm using your quote, and I've used it a lot of times. What's the philosophy? What's the starting 11? Why do we adapt to every opposition we're playing?
Well, that's it. It's not going to change because this is what Mourinho does. I mean, we spend a week trying to, figure out what Bournemouth are going to do and how to tackle it. Come on, if you look at Pep, you look at Klopp, there's a way of doing it. They've got a philosophy. Klopp's worked it out. They play football the way they want to play football against teams they know they're going to beat. And now he's changed his philosophy a little bit. So the teams that he realises that are going to be difficult, he adapts a little bit because he knows he's got the defence to do it. And he thinks, right, we'll try and sneak a result. We haven't got that philosophy to build on in the first place to be able to adapt. We adapt every game.
Why do you think we've gone so badly this season, though? Because, as you said, anything's possible with Mourinho, but one thing that's always very consistent is his defence is very good. And if you look at our defence this season, we're averaging nearly 2 goals a game. I mean, defensively, we're shit. My daughter's not even 10. She plays football, and she says, "Why do United always concede down the right hand side?" But it is so obvious. We're terrible down the right hand side. Even Bournemouth exploited it. Leicester on the opening day of the season exploited it. I like Mata, but Mata and Young, they're just Mata, Young, Lingard, Darmian, whoever it is, Valencia. We're terrible down the right hand side. The centre backs aren't right, and that's something that he plays Matic, who I think's crap to protect. He's had Fellaini in the back 5. He's had McTominay there. Defensively, that's Mourinho's thing, and yet we are terrible.
I could talk for a week, Mark, about what I think's wrong. I mean, I'm not Jose Mourinho, and I'm not a manager, but we haven't got a right-hand side. We haven't got one. Jesse Lingard, if he plays, he cuts inside. Mata with pace would be terrifying. Mata without pace ruins our counter-attack. He gets the ball, he has to cut back, and then no one else is running beyond. Do you know what? I had a list of things I wanted to talk about tonight. I haven't talked about any of them because I just get on one, but we don't overlap. We don't overlap, ever. Luke Shaw, I watch the game, and I'll do player watch sometimes. I watch Luke Shaw. You have a look at Luke Shaw, how many times he overlaps Martial, how many times he gets in the space down that wing, how many times he could be played through like City do all the time with their little triangles, all the time and get in. Last game he got picked out once, and he must have made 15 runs. He's the only player that actually overlaps. No one ever even looks for him, let alone finds him. I mean, it's the brief that Mourinho puts over. Don't overlap. Keep your positions. Keep your defensive line. Our wingers are fullbacks inherently, and they can get forward when they want. What should be is our wingers are wingers, and they get back when they have to. But it's the other way around. I mean, you know what? And also, another question I was going to ask you: when people are Mourinho in and they say we're just waiting for him to turn it around, what does turn it around mean? Yeah. I mean, turn it around to me at the moment means Mourinho just starts winning more games, playing the same way as we are at the moment. I don't want that. How is this football sustainable? In terms of, we know Mourinho's not going to be here for a very long time. When he leaves, what are we left with? We're left with a bunch of random players put in there that are really good, not really knowing how to play. And I said it before, we are banging into a rebuilding process again, which is going to take 3 or 4 years. And we can't afford to do that. So the sooner we get rid of them, in my opinion, the quicker we can start building for consistency.
It's a great point, because as soon as you said that, my thoughts went back to Sevilla. And if you think about them, there was a lot of United fans at that point who said, I've had enough. It's 2 years. The football, the philosophy, the formation, what is it? In fact, you were one of those people. And at that time, I was one of the people saying, look, let's see what happens in the summer. We are second in the league. So how, obviously I'm not Mourinho anymore. That changed this season. But for anyone who's Mourinho in now, I mean, this is not a new phenomenon. People were talking about this when we finished second. What is the future? How can we do it? Because what is our philosophy? And on top of that, defensively we're terrible.
3 years, Mark.
Yeah, defensively we're terrible. But look at Man City. Apparently Man City are the team that if you score 3, we'll score 4. Well, no, they're scoring 4. I think they've only conceded 4 all season. Defensively, they're solid, and they're absolutely scoring goals for fun. So it's just a massive it's a massive obvious sign, isn't it, that Mourinho's style of football. I agree with you. I think if he got things right, he could grind out top 4, but you're never going to win a title.
There was on Sky Sports today. There was the most influential midfielders in the league at present over the last 3 years or something, and the height of them. No one was taller than 5'11". It's a different league nowadays. Height means nothing. We put Matic in there because he's 6'4" for long balls over the top that are never going to come. They don't. No one does long balls over the top. Even Burnley try not to. So we've got Fellaini, and we've got Matic, and we've got all these tall players. For what reason? So smaller, more technical players can play around them really easily and really quickly, which is what's happening. I mean, things are moving on, and Jose Mourinho will still win games the way he plays because it's resilient and resolute and defensive, and he's tactically brilliant at that football. But it's just not going to win your leagues. And I believe that if we're waiting for this to turn around into a title-winning team just by throwing more players at more money at it, then we're just throwing money at players which are going to come in for Jose Mourinho and eventually maybe being left in the lurch again because another manager will come in because we're not going to get the results we want to. I mean, I've got no confidence. I've got confidence in the players. I haven't got confidence in the way we go out and play. And that's one of the issues that I've got, along with many. I mean, I'll have to call in again because I've got loads of things I want to talk about that I haven't actually bothered talking about. It's ridiculous.
Well, thanks for calling in, Paul. Really do appreciate it. Good points as ever. And we're back doing the Skype shows now, so definitely do call in again.
Yeah, I'll give it a couple of weeks, mate. Cheers, buddy.
All right. Cheers, pal.
Take it easy.
I just would say that as well, and I'm not so sure Paul would agree. I think he maybe would. Is that the best situation for Mourinho for me is I don't trust the board, so I don't think anything soon's going to happen. And even if we did get rid of him, I've got this horrible feeling that we get Conte. And to be honest with you, I'd rather keep Mourinho than get Conte. I just don't like his style of football. And again, why are United obsessed with getting managers from rivals? I don't want Conte at United. So the best situation for me is that Mourinho somehow gets us top four and then goes in the summer, because Paul's right. He's not the man for the modern game, and I think that is the fact. You can back Mourinho, you can be Mourinho out, but the reality is my patience went because of the style of football, and he's not the right man for any Premier League top four side anymore, because that style of football is not going to do it. And the big thing is, Mo Adder said it in the live comments. I was saying about, why have we messed up defensively? And he was slating our defence all summer as well. So, the confidence is probably on the floor, isn't it? So, I don't know. I think it's a big week for United, I really do. We'll just have to see what happens with it. But I personally just hope that we can get top four, because I don't think he's going anywhere soon. Mark, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, thanks. You?
Oh, not so bad. Not so bad.
Okay, floor's yours. What do you want to talk about?
I quite liked, on the weekend, I was watching a Bournemouth game, and I quite liked the idea of, I've been saying it to a long time to people, everyone that I know, that we should be giving Sanchez a chance up through the middle. I think he gave us something completely different on the weekend, and I don't think, even, I know the first half we didn't play particularly well, but the second half, and up until we scored that first goal, he was becoming a bit of a problem. He was making runs that Lukaku just doesn't make, or that Lukaku doesn't even see, let alone anything else. But I think over the years, with the Alex Ferguson era, I think we've just been spoilt. And I think all United fans of that old era have just been completely spoilt by all the players that we had. And I think we just need to get used to, at the minute in time, unfortunately, I hate saying it, we are kind of a mediocre team. We're not the team that we were. And I hate saying that, because United were one of the best teams in Europe, if not the best team in Europe, in those eras. Nobody wanted to play us. Everybody feared us. Even the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids, they drew United. They were like, oh shit, we're going to get a game on here. I reckon it comes to the Champions League now, and everyone wants to draw United. I'm dreading Champions League against Juventus. I'm just, I'm hopeful, but I'm just thinking it could be 2-3, 4-0 in the first half, the way that we play at the minute in time. And I don't understand why we don't come out the blocks. I don't know. You've got the manager saying, oh, we've been training to do this and we've been trained to do that all week and this, that and the other. So where is it? What have we been doing? Reading blindfolds on our eyes, crossing round cones and everything like that? I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's interesting when you say about, obviously all the success we had under Sir Alex Ferguson, because I remember about 5 years before he retired, I was down the pub with my mate and we were saying, we've got to enjoy this, because when he's gone, we won't have this success. And I accept that. I do accept that. But I think the issue is that we shouldn't be where we are as well. I mean, bad appointments as managers and a poor board has put us in a situation we shouldn't be, and we should be doing a lot better. But what I liked about what you said there is, because I was thinking about it this morning, funnily enough, is that I don't necessarily think that, I'll use Pogba as an example, even though I don't believe this, but Paul Pogba might not be good enough for Manchester United to win a title. But the reality is we'll never know, because we don't have the right manager and we're not picking the right team anyway. I don't think the players deserve any criticism at the moment, because I think the style of football and the tactics we use are just really, really odd. But I don't think we even get to that page where we start saying, are these players good enough? Because we don't really get to see what United are all about, because the manager and the board just consistently are picking these managers and tactics that are so negative and so not what we're about. All I want to see, I said this a couple of weeks ago, that when Mourinho goes, and he will go, and if we did get Zidane or we did get Jardim or we did get Blanc, it's sad, because when we got Mourinho, I wanted him because he guaranteed a Premier League title. He didn't. He's not delivered that. The next manager we get, I won't be expecting a Premier League title. I won't be one of those fans who are going, oh yeah, we've got Zidane, we're going to win the Champions League. because I think we've seen, we've maybe thought that with 3 managers now. And I think what I want to see more than anything is the right manager for Manchester United coming in who gets us playing as the right way, so we can actually find out whether these players are good enough. That's what I want to see, because I don't think we know.
I think for a long time we've been playing players out of position. If it's my honest opinion, Matt's not a winger; he's a number 10. So why are we playing Matt on the wing? If we know that we don't have a right winger, why have we not gone into the market and bought a right winger? For so long, we've been in the market to buy left wingers all the time. Why?
Well, Sanchez we thought was a right winger, didn't we? And then he drops Martial for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've had the perfect left winger for a long time in Martial, but we haven't used him. So we've tried Sanchez out there, but he interrupts Pogba's flow. But he gets in the way of Pogba because he likes to occupy the same space. But if you notice on the weekend, when you put Sanchez up front, he's making runs in behind. He's making runs. He's not getting in the way of Pogba. He's not getting in the way of Martial. He's getting in the box. He's doing the things that he should be doing. The last caller made a good point of the fact that we, down the left side, we do overlap, but on the right side, we don't overlap. But again, we've been spoiled over the years, haven't we? The United teams of old used to overlap all the time. And when the left back or the right back went forwards, the left midfield or the right midfielder, Beckham, Giggs, whoever, they would drop back into those positions. But I don't necessarily agree with the fact that Martial doesn't defend, because I've seen Martial in the last few games get back and he has made some good sort of defensive parts. But obviously his strongest point is to be going forwards, to taking on players. So of course you don't want him being back there. But I do think I do think he does leave us a bit vulnerable on the back.
Yeah.
I have noticed that quite a lot. I mean, his pace is quite frightening, actually, to be fair. And I think he relies a lot on his pace to the fact that if he gets forward and he does make an error, he relies on his pace to get back to fill the gap. And when he's filling the gap, I watch a lot of players. They don't like to try and go around him or put a cross around him. They tend to go back to, play a 1-2 off of him. And I've noticed that quite a lot as well. So he's obviously quite confident in his own ability. But if we're not confident in our back four, then why not try someone like Matic as centre-back? I wouldn't mind Matic playing centre-back, personally. He has got the height, he's got the ability, he's got the forefront, he can make a pass, but he's slower on the ball. And then you can drop Herrera into that CDM role, or Pereira into that CDM role, and then you can play Pogba and Fred in the midfield role. But then you've kind of solved that issue. And I think at the minute in time, if he can't, if he doesn't know what he's doing with his defensive partnerships, try something new. I personally believe, I said for quite a while that I think Matic would be quite a good centre back. His pace is not brilliant, but overall, I think his overall game play is, his positioning is not too bad. I think he's just slow around the pitch, and I just think he's slow getting the ball forwards. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
I just want to see Matic out of the midfield. I just think he takes too many touches and slows us down, and I think he gets bypassed too much. Whether we could use him as a centre-back, I mean, ideally I'd say I don't want to do that, but having said that, it would suit what his game's all about at the moment. He's not particularly fast, but he's not bad on the ball. He's quite tall, obviously. I think he's quite good at reading the game. And I'd much rather see him there. And the thing is about Matic, I think while he's in the squad, Mourinho is always going to pick him. So I'd put him at centre-back and put him alongside Lindelof and drop Smalling personally, yeah. But just to get him out of that midfield, I think we'd be a much better team if we got that midfield mobile.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making. You put Herrera in there. Herrera's always looking for the forward pass, and he's quicker across the backfield. Lindelof, I think he's been amazing the last 3 or 4 games. He's really come out of his shell. I don't know where he's found his confidence from, but he's turning into the player that we all hoped that he would be. I do remember another certain centre-back pairing that, that was... when we bought Vidic. Yeah. Vidic, we were all like, oh my God, what's Fergie done? What have we done here? And all of a sudden, Rio and him start playing. You're like, "Well, my God, it's the best centre back pairing in Europe. My God, why didn't we do this a long time ago?" I just think we need to find him someone. I don't know why we're not playing Bailly. I don't get it. In my opinion, he is our best centre back.
Can't even get on the bench at the moment. It's ridiculous.
No, and God, Calamity Jones, he's got to go. I don't like Jones. I haven't liked Jones for a long time. He costs us more points than what he actually does anything decent, I think. From my own personal point of view, other United callers might disagree.
I doubt it.
But I really do think our main issue, our main area at the minute, is down the right-hand side. And I think we need to play Dalot. I quite like Dalot from what we've seen, from what I've seen of him. He can put a good pass in. There's no doubt about that. He does whip that ball across. But I think we're a right wing short. I think that's where we really need to emphasise our game. I do think that I would be dropping Lukaku and I would be keeping Sanchez up front. I don't know. I like the way that Herrera played the other day when he came on for Fred. I do believe that Fred is the way forward, but I think he needs game time. Yeah. He needs much more game time to get into knowing the Premier League the way that it is. There's no doubt about it that he's tenacious enough and he gets in the tackle. He's not scared to put a tackle in. He's a bit sort of like bit of a sort of skull sort of player, really, and his tackle was a bit reckless sometimes. But you get away with it because you're like, well, he's putting in a tackle. I don't mind if he gets a yellow card. At least he's putting a tackle to do something. And I do think that Pogba's our centre attacking midfield man. But it's who you play up there, and it's definitely ain't Lukaku at the minute. He's too slow. I think he's been eating too many vitamins. I think he's far too pumped up to be a striker. I think he's lost pace. But apart from that, I think we just need a different outlook on the way that we're doing things. And I do think, unfortunately, with Jose, he's a very stubborn man. He's won everything the way that he's always played. And I just personally believe that he's never going to change his style. He's always going to believe that the way that he wants to play is the best, which is the old way of how he used to play. And the Premier League's not like that anymore. I think he'd do well over in Europe, over in Italy, where the pace is slower and he can concentrate on something like that. But I don't know. I don't know where the right way to go is. I think we just need a different outlook on the way that our philosophy needs to be done. And I do think something needs to be done with the board, because I think they are a massive issue. But the board's another problem in itself. And all the time the Glaziers are up there and they're supporting the board. The board's never going to change. So I don't think that's ever going to change, unfortunately.
Well, thanks for calling in, Mark. Really, really good points. And please do call in again.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you.
Cheers, pal.
See you later. All right.
Very, very good call. Covered a lot of things, and I find it very difficult to disagree with a lot of it, to be honest with you. I mean, look, Lukaku, there are issues with United. I mean, the right-hand side is terrible, and it has been all season. Matic is becoming a problem now. It's interesting, though, isn't it? I said this a few weeks ago as well. When you look at Jose Mourinho, and he wants more money, and I wasn't backed in the summer, we spoke about it a few weeks ago. Mourinho's signings follow a pattern. They're either out the club or they decline after a year. I mean, you think about that first summer. He bought Zlatan, Pogba, Mkhitaryan and Bailly. Out of those 4 signings, only Pogba remains. And Pogba probably wanted to go himself and the club won't sell him. Zlatan was only ever short-term anyway. Mkhitaryan's been sold and Bailly's on the way out of the club. So that's those 4. Very, very consistent there. The following summer, he gets Lindelof, Matic and Lukaku. Lindelof is now coming good, but was misused last year. Lukaku now, a lot of people would get rid of, not because he's not a bad striker, but because his build-up play is never going to make us fluid in the final third. And Matic is a player in the midfield, is never going to make us fluid and makes us slow as well. So those two of his signings from last summer are a problem as well. This summer, who's he bought? Dalot, who is back fit now and should be our right back, but will he play him? I don't think so, because he's young. Fred, £50 million, who should be getting played more games, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out of the team when Fellaini comes back. So, Mourinho wants all this money, but actually a vast proportion of his signings are failures or out of the club. So it's really, really interesting, and there are so many problems with that United side that you can patch up these problems. You can patch up these problems, and you can grind out results. And look, saying we're grinding out results, I don't mean like be defensive, because we're not being defensive. We are winning games by the odd goal because we are going till the end, and it's great to see that. But the right hand side, the CDM, the striker when Lukaku plays, there are the centre back pairing. There's a number of issues. Just read a couple of super chats. Shamzo 1 per day says Sanchez drops, Rashford gets in behind in relation to the way they play. Bjorn Lundberg says, wrong, Alexis Sanchez doesn't stretch defences, he's too slow. Kadir Hussein says Man United are playing so bad because Jose relies on individual approach and on individuals. He approaches games with no game plan. When you're relying on individuals, you need to have the players to do the job. I'm still Jose out. Big Daddy Max says, Mark, I'm a Liverpool fan in peace. All the best for the season. Very surprising, but thanks very much for that very adult and respectful contribution. Charlie Davenport's made a couple of contributions. He said, we need a better number 7 than Sanchez. Jury's out on Sanchez. I mean, he wears the number 7. That number 7 shirt has just been abused, hasn't it, since Ronaldo was here. I don't think top 4 is good enough, says Charlie Davenport as well. No, I think I think Mourinho goes for me, regardless of whether we finish in the top 4, because it's a decline from a season ago. John G says, thoughts on Memphis replacing Mata or Sanchez? I don't think Memphis would be a good signing. I really don't. I really don't think Memphis would be a good signing. Attitude problems at Lyon as well a couple of weeks ago. Apparently he'd fell out with the dressing room. So I don't know. And I think him coming back, he'd be under more pressure than he was the first time. We're stuck at the moment, says Kid Cully. Can't park the bus because we can't defend, and we can't attack until we go behind. No philosophy and no direction. Well, I think this is the perfect week for us because of that. Because we are against two very good teams. If we can't park the bus, we've got to try and play football. And if we play football and we get a result against one of those teams, it could set us up for the rest of the season. So it's exciting. I really hope he doesn't park the bus because we're not good enough to do that. We're really not good enough to do it. And Angelo Marrero says, Jose said in his last press conference that he's trying to get the team to play attacking football. Do you think he is trying? Love your streams. Look, I think there's something going wrong at United. I don't know what it is. You hear so many things. As I said, we had Phil Brown on a few weeks ago who was saying that Mourinho, was willing to go if he got paid out. It's been a circus pantomime season for United so far. I don't think anybody can deny that. Please do drop a like on the video. It's the first Skype show we've done in a while. Definitely want to get these back. And please do drop a like on the video. It's the most important video to like because these are the videos where you, the United Stand community, come on and have your say. And I've absolutely loved having a few callers back on. Can't wait to continue it again. Really, really, really enjoyed it. So please do drop a like and get involved in the community because that's what it's all about. Flex is obviously going to be out in Turin on Wednesday night, interviewing some fans after the game. So, just getting your voices, getting your opinions. As I've always said, my opinion's no better than yours. I'm just in a fortuitous position where I present the show. But, I'm not, what's the word? I'm not a dictator about that. I don't think my opinion should be more valid than yours. So I love it getting your opinions, whether it's through live comments or people coming on the Skype show. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So really, really enjoyed the show tonight. I'm so excited all day about getting it back on and it's gone exactly how I wanted it to. So love having the Skype show back. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Paul, who was on before, says pantomime is a great word for our season with Mourinho. He's behind you kicking off. Yeah, I think we are approaching pantomime season in the UK. Christmas is just around the corner. And you know what? What I would say is that we've had an absolutely terrible season and we're 3 points behind Arsenal, who have apparently they're having a great season and progressing. This is how shit this season. This is how shit the Premier League is. Because people will still say we're only 9 points behind Man City. Like 9 points is like one win. I said this a few weeks ago as well. I've said a lot, haven't I? People look at the league and go, oh, we're only 4 points behind Spurs. We're only 7 points behind this. We're only 5 points behind them. 4 points is a lot of points in the Premier League when you're fighting with the top 4. Because The only way that Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, well, no, I don't think even City do this, drop points is when they play each other and they draw or they lose. They're the only games they do it, because everybody else they'll go and beat. Whether it's Burnley, Wolves or even Everton, they will beat those teams because that's the quality they have over those. Unfortunately for United, and it's not just this season, let's be honest, your West Hams, your Brightons, your Wolves at home, your West Broms at home last year, your Newcastle away, your Huddersfield, we are capable, as Paul also said, we are capable of losing to anybody. Whereas I think even Arsenal this season as well, they're beating everybody apart from the top teams. So you can go, it's only 9 points, but 9 points, well, let's just have a laugh about this for a moment. How do you overhaul 9 points with Man City? You don't. This title was gone in August. I said it was gone in August. And not because I want to be right, but I would put any money on it. We're not winning the title. I would put 10 grand on us not winning the title. And I will give it to charity next May if we win the title. This is there now. I will give 10 grand to charity in May if United win the title. That's going to bloody stretch me. I'm going to be stretching more than a fat lady in ski pants to find 10 grand to pay it for charity. But I will do it because I'm good to my word. If Manchester United win the league, I will pay 10 grand to charity. But we're not going to do it. No, we're not. We're not. Not unless every bloody Liverpool player, Man City player and everyone else does it for a bants and allows Man United to win the league. In which case, it'd be almost worth 10 grand for United to win the league anyway. But we're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the league. And you know why we're not going to win the league? I don't even need to talk about... I don't think we'll finish above Liverpool anyway. I don't think we'll finish above Chelsea. But we're not going to catch Man City. Even if we beat Man City on Sunday and close the gap to 6 points, there will be United fans who go, we're going to win the league. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the league, right? Because 9 points is what we are behind Man City at the moment. That means City have got to lose 3 games and we've got to win all our games just to get level with them. People don't appreciate that. And then if we even, so let's say between now and Christmas, Man City lose 3 games. We've got to win all our games just to be level with them by Christmas. Just level. To go ahead of them, we've got to win all our games till the end of January and hope that Man City lose 4. Just to go ahead of them. And that's the end of January. So 9 points is massive. And who are Man City going to lose points to? All right, they might lose to Chelsea. They might lose to Liverpool. They might lose to us. But we're going to have to beat Chelsea and Liverpool just to catch up with them. It's not going to happen because there's no way Man City are going to lose to Everton or Newcastle or Huddersfield. They're not. It's not going to happen. 9 points may as well be 20 points in this league. It is massive because the top teams don't drop many points. Week in, week out, they're winning. They're winning. The only time they're dropping points is against each other, and there's not many of those games. So there we go. Man City are criminals, says Sing Guardian, never frosty. Look, if anything ever comes of this Man City situation that they've, manipulated marketing deals to bring in money, then and they're stripped of titles, I don't want that to happen. I would not like Manchester United to be awarded a title because Man City got stripped of titles. You can think of the Aguero late goal. That's as close as a Premier League title race has ever been. It was decided on a goal. So you can almost feel that would be great for us to have that title, but I still wouldn't want it. I still wouldn't want it because it doesn't feel right. And what if Liverpool come second to Man City in a title race? I think they did, didn't they? The Gerrard slip here. So I think I know a few Liverpool fans. Would you be happy that your first Premier League title was handed to you because Man City cheated? I don't want that to happen. I'd rather, as I said this afternoon, give it to charity. Give it to a club that's never going to win the Premier League. So give it to Arsenal or something like that. They'll celebrate anything. But I if Man City were to get titles deducted, I'm not happy with that. I'd kick them. I'd rather see them kicked down to League 2. I don't want to see them have titles deducted because I don't want to be awarded a title for nothing. That I wouldn't like that. Andrew Rossi says, Mark, going to need a lot of super chats to reach the 10k. Here's a start. Look, mate, it's never going to happen. It's never, ever, ever going to happen. United are not winning the title this year. And I tell you what, if you got a private word with any United player, and Jose Mourinho and they forcefully had to answer this question, are United going to win the title this year? I think Mourinho would laugh and say, we've got absolutely no chance. Because he's not a stupid man. He knows football far more than any of us lot because he's lived and breathed and won it all. So we know football because we love our club and we know the history of our club. We know how it should play. We know what we want to see on the pitch. We know about tactics and stuff like that. But Jose Mourinho's not a stupid man. He knows football as well. There's no way he thinks we can win this title. I mean, mathematically we can. But even if we were to beat City on Sunday, we're still 6 points behind them. 6 points is massive, absolutely massive. And I don't trust United to go and win every single game that we need to close these gaps. I'm gonna have to get off. This cough is doing my head in. I need it to go. I really need it to go. Anyway, please do drop a like on the video. Absolutely love the show tonight. Love having the Skype show back on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. It's what this show and channel is all about. Just drop a like and support everybody. And if you've been in the live comments, there's been some cracking comments in there as well, as per usual. Tomorrow we've got Flex and Rants going up at 1 o'clock with their show. Tomorrow night, I'm live at 8 o'clock as usual. And then on to Wednesday, we've got watch-alongs, fan cams, a massive game. 2 massive games in 4 days. Juventus Wednesday night and City Sunday afternoon. So really excited about those games. Thanks everyone who's joined us tonight, and I'm off to watch Walking Dead, the end of Rick Grimes, or is it? See you all soon.